Qué compulsión que tienen ustedes, ¿no? De atarse a la facultad como si ahí se terminase el mundo.
El único lugar en el que soy algo es en Puan.
Puan filma esango dugu. Hola, bienvenidos.
Hi, welcome everyone to the new press conference of the 71st San Sebastian Film Festival. We've got the team of the film Puan that competes in the official section, and we have Tatiana Leite, co-producer, Federico EIBUSZYC, producer, Barbara Francisco Mendívil, producer, Leonardo SBARAGLIA, actor, Benjamin NAISHTAT, director, MARÍA ALCHE, director, Marcelo SUBIOTTO, actor, Mara BESTELLI, actress, and AXEL KUSCHEVATZKY, co-producer. Excuse me if I pronounce any of those surnames incorrectly. And I'd like to start the press conference with a question from Maria and Benjamin, who are well known in the festival. They've got a close relationship here. They've received the best direction with Rojo. Maria won the Horizontes Latinos with Familia Sumergida. These are two films that are very different to the tone of this film, Puan. So therefore, I'm interested in knowing how you approached this issue. Why did you decide to approach the film from that very comedy-like approach, and what was it like to direct? Where I meant this morning, there's a phrase in which it talks about the optimum difference, for example, two urchins, for example, so that they don't stick into each other. We started to become interested in talking about the world of philosophy because we're very close to the school there, and we found an interesting counterpoint between the abstract world of the classes where the professors concentrate for a long time to think about the world, and then how they've got to resolve very daily and mundane problems like any other human being has to try to resolve. And we thought comedy was the ideal genre in order to address all of this. We started to think about the script and to call it philosophical comedy as an invented genre which was going to take charge of those things of comedy and philosophy at the same time. And we thought that it was an attractive challenge in order to write the script. As regards to your second question, to direct with four hands, everyone who does this profession should try this, because the truth is it's a difficult exercise, but it's absolutely very good, because it's, and as you said about urchins, sometimes we got stuck and pricked by the urchin, but there's a synthesis that takes place which is much richer, and it's an adventure which is much better than the tyranny of one person who's got to say what a film has to be like. So for me, it was a fantastic learning process. Now you can raise your hands and ask questions.
Hola, buenos días.
Hi, good morning. I see that there are several countries in the production of the film. I'd like to know how did they participate, and who were first and who came later, and whether you've had funding or financing problems. Hi, I'm Barbara Francisco, one of the producers. Financing difficulties. Well, I produced Familia Sumergidas, which is the first film by María ALCHE, with Federico EIBUSZYC I'm here with, who produced Benjamin Schneider's latest film, Rojo. When they both came together to write and direct Puan, we decided to carry out a co-production. So therefore, we set up like a family, like all family, realistic and very functional. And then we've got Christoph Friedel, Pandora, who came along. We came from Familia Sumergida. Tatiana Leite came from Familia Sumergida as well. And we also added the French Manuel Chumet. And then we added on Infinity, Giovanni, who we met as well in the co-production market in Berlin, and Taller, French as well. I'm not too sure any other producers or co-producers would like to say a few words as regards to how they came to the film. Allow me, hi, Federico. I would like to add that it was all quite quick. The film, in the forum of the co-production in Berlin, we found Giovanni there, met Giovanni there, and so therefore they came along very quickly onto the project. What I think that worked very well is that every country gave a significant contribution to the film. The key elements, for example, the people from Brazil, the DOP from France, the editor from Brazil. There are people from all over the place, really. From everywhere. Italy contributed as well, quite a lot to the camera, and it all operated very well. They all came along thanks to the co-production, and that enriched the film very much. And like Benjamin said, what comes from out and what adds, well, obviously enriches things. And that was the experience in Argentina. It's not that we choose to do co-production, but that's the only way to do so. But it operates quite well and it's quite enriching. And we want to thank them very much. It received a film which has received a lot of support, and it was enriched by all of the countries that participated. Hi, good morning. Congratulations for the film. It's a curiosity that comes to mind. When I saw the film, it reminded me, especially looking at the character of the leading actor, it reminded me quite a lot of the character of Larry David and his series. Cop your enthusiasm. Not too sure whether you bought it because of the type of character, because of the things that happen to him and how he behaves vis-a-vis everything that happens to him. And then I would just like to asked about the way he gets dressed. He's always dressed the same. Whether that was, how did you think about this? Was that always in mind when the script was written? Hi. As regards to your question, I know Larry David's series quite well. Perhaps Maria is not that much of a fanatic, but Larry David takes a lot from Woody Allen, and Woody Allen takes from the prototype of a tragicomical hero, which was more or less what drove us for the script. And we've got Marcelo Subiotto is a fantastic actor with his physical capacity and verbal capacity of taking in so many registers, and he sings and he recites the class, he dances, he sits on his head and reads Rousseau or whatever they ask for him. So call him for whatever you need. No, well, the wardrobe was something that we started to try one wardrobe, another wardrobe, and at the end we loved one which should have been very simple and allowed us, obviously, to generate something just like that, very much simpler, a character that's wears the same clothes all day long. I'm not too sure, Marcelo, you want to say something? No, well, it's a person. He doesn't on a day-to-day. Some people are concerned about clothes, but he doesn't, or formally or necessary, but this character doesn't have it. And I think it's right that he always appeared with the same clothes, as if it was the only person that didn't get changed throughout those 4 or 5 days. But he doesn't have too much wardrobe as well, and that's also important. I'm interested, in fact, and excuse me for asking a question directly, but the directing of the actors in the film, Maria, being an actress as well, has an important background there, but the truth is all of the actors, Mara, Marcelo, and Leonardo, are quite spectacular in my opinion, but each of you confronting the role, but in a different way, I think. I was asking how do you maintain that balance from the director's standpoint between those three, and also all the supporting characters, for example, the lady that they teach the philosophy classes to, who are also great. How you maintain that balance from when you direct the actors, for Maria and Benjamin, and then how do the actors approach, the actors that are here, how do they approach their roles? Well, we were quite fortunate. We have great actors, Leonardo, SBARAGLIA, Maria BESTELLI, Maria BESTELLI, and all of the rest of the cast. We were able to rehearse quite a lot with all of them, and also combine the different directing styles we both have. Perhaps it was very useful for me to rehearse, but Benjamin has a way that the director that I'm learning, for example, to mark tones, which is very different. And that's how we combine things together, trying to find within the universes that the film goes through, which are quite different, to try to find a tone that makes them be part of the same universe. And in that sense, all of the cast contributed quite a lot, and together we built and constructed the characters throughout the rehearsals. I'm not too sure whether the actors, I'm interested in seeing what the actors have to. Yes, it was very interesting. I have the personal experience of having constructed this Marcelo Pena between the three of us. And it's very true what Maria says. And personally, as an actor, there's always an attempt to translate what comes from outside to what I've got to do as an actor. And that attracts me, and it invites me to be creative and to not bring everything towards me, but me go towards what is required. And here there was a two-way with Maria and Benjamin, which is very rich. I enjoyed from the beginning to the end. So therefore it was a very pleasant shoot. Hi. From my position, it was very interesting to work. I'd already worked with Benjamin before. I didn't know Maria a bit less, but I did participate in her previous film. And it was very interesting, the union, those two different looks that Maria said that they have, because we had to synthesize all that, really make a synthesis of it. So in each scene, we went to fishing to see what we could find at that moment when the scenes were addressed, albeit we had rehearsed a lot, and all of the rehearsals were very good to set up this family and try to find the day-to-day aspect of that family. We're also partners in, so we got, but not with the child, but it was the rehearsal process was very good to discover what this family was like. So therefore it was an experience which was extraordinary. An extraordinary experience. So in my case, I'm the only one that didn't have a partner. So I didn't have to put up with any urchin, but I think that the maximum challenge was I had to learn German, play the piano, learn to talk, sing in French. So therefore, in that sense, and also very thorny. No, Spinoza, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, Spinoza, we have to bring him in because he's very great. I was very interested in working with Maria, along with Benjamin, to participate in this film, in this role, which was quite difficult to find the gauge, the balance of the character, which was quite difficult, but we started to find it during the shoot, and I imagine as well as in the editing, but that we're here and we're very happy to be.
Hola.
Hi. I would like to ask the directors about the political intention the film has, and I imagine that its premiere now, which is very close to the elections in Argentina, I imagine to that message to defend education, public education, and what is public in general. Well, yes, hi. As you well say, all of a sudden the film could take or may take or is taking a dimension that perhaps we hadn't calibrated at all, because we wrote it almost 4 years ago, that is to say, in another reality in the middle of the pandemic, where perhaps there were some things in the air, but we didn't imagine the current situation in Argentina. Having said all this, we are happy that it can be an object of political thought and they can question the urgent present and the very urgent present in Argentina, and it's a great welcome if it defends public education, which we think should bring us all together. Hi, a question for AXEL KUSCHEVATZKY. Initially, what's the process by selecting a story a priori, which makes you and defines you when you choose it, and also, and as it's a comedy with a local color to it, what tools or what elements do you think it has for an eventual international projection of the film? Thank you very much for the question. First of all is when there are people with so much talent, you want to work with them. This script, when we work with them, we see there was nothing, it was brilliant from the beginning to the end. So we had no doubt. We said, we've got to form part of, we'd be idiots if we don't form part of this project. That's what we said. We fell in love with it. We love it. We identify what it says and how it's told with all of the concerns. And as Benjamin says, with everything it opens up, and marvelously it doesn't play with the characters, and that's the most beautiful thing it has. They all have a range, they all have a life, and obviously it's a film that talks about the present. Perhaps it's pre-science, because we had no doubt that we wanted to participate. One of the things that I think all producers, and I think is that when we start to show it and you start to, it's seen by programmers and the audience, the connection is very deep, which is something that initially one could think it's a film that talks about what is local, but the truth is local and localist are not synonymous. We can tell something local, and in any case, the connections are very deep. We feel the film, we all believe the film has the capacity to travel, which is enormous capacity to travel, and this is the startup. Thank you. Hi, congratulations for the film. I'd like to focus, and if you could tell me the decision of using, how you tell the story of that iris, and that you said because it's an aesthetic resource that is not very, well, not used that much nowadays. So yes, it's not very used too much, but the thing is to have the reminiscences of the silent comedy movies, so it's like a DNA that's present in the film, so that it have a bit of burlesque in it, so that the film deals with issues that are quite deep, quote unquote. And what I can tell you is that we did it mechanically at hand in takes, so therefore we couldn't go back on it. Where there was an Irish shot, that was the case, and that's the merit of Giovanni and Lara, who are out there somewhere, I don't know, but who told us to manufacture it in Italy, because practically nobody mechanically uses that resource. Excuse me. Sorry. Well, the question is for Maria and Benjamin, mainly because of the choice of the tone of comedy, because as so much time have went by since you started preparing and writing the script and the project, in the middle that we had a pandemic, things happened, and the tone, that comedy, was that reinforced over time, or was it there from the outset? How did you work upon this? The comedy was there from the beginning. That was the intention, for the film to have a lot of elements of comedy. That's what made us feel like doing, to relate ourselves with laughter, that a spectator goes to the cinema and has a possibility to laugh, because I believe that laugh is something ferocious and very deep, and to find that connection with a spectator is something that allows you to talk about many truths. Having said this, we also wanted the film to be emotional and to have another thick layer to it, so that the script took that way, that path as well. So therefore we had the freedom to start with that decision and this genre, and then also the film can go towards other areas. And then with Livia Serpa, who's the editor, we ended up adjusting that tone and to see how far, to what extent it was one thing and to what extent it was the other thing. And that's quite often we saw different editing until we ended up with the film we have. In that sense, I know it's true, it's a comedy, and as Axel said, it's local, but it's a film which is quite universal, and its approach to philosophy, especially because there's a philosophical background, well treated and quite documented, I believe. And documenting on philosophy is especially complicated because we're not talking about concepts which are material, but we're talking about more abstract type of concepts. I would like to ask you, how did you approach the subject of philosophy apart from the characters in the script? Well, no, both of us have got a link, and personal in particular, vis-a-vis philosophy. Maria was a student in Puan in philosophy, and my father is a professor of philosophy and at the University of Buenos Aires. So therefore, it's something that we know and we're interested. And then we also had to work to be able to write the script, and that the classes had the right tone, for example, and we used philosophers we're very admired and very well close. Diego Tull, Sebastián Abad, Javier Trim, there's the thinkers, Jamín Ferreiro, who in turn, Leo, for example, Leo, who's over here, got together with Diego and Jamín in order to go over those classes, and as well as Marcelo, met up with and it was a well worked on piece of work. We have time for another final question. Hi again. Given, well, in the film we see that ecosystem in Puan, all of those characters that live in that area, so I imagine this is right, but could you clear up that the title of the film was always going to be Puan? At the beginning, no, the title wasn't Puan. Tell them what the first title was. MARÍA SUBIOTTO. Because we started to write the film thinking in those two, and then the title was philosophical comedy for some time, and then at a given moment when we involved the producers, we had to find a title, and it was tempting for it to be Puan because it's a street at the school there, university school, and it's a title. It's a word that people use for those group of people that work there because it's one of the subway stop. They say Puan as if it were a person. What did Puan think about this? Puanes, they call them Puanes. So it's like a universe which defined a lot of things and also provided something. Many people asked us, don't give that name to the film, but it was a great idea from Maria there, who knows. It was a great idea because for the community in Puan and in Buenos Aires is where the thousands of people know what Puan is. It's like Barbie. It had a micro scale. Barbie, but at a micro scale. But it makes it fun. It's funny that it has that level of penetration with the film. And they take a photo with Foucault instead of dressing in pink, and there's a phrase which is circulating. How cool is Puan? We want to install that. Okay. We can't hear this lady. I'm sorry. We have some tattoos that we can show you. We got tattoos, we got bags, we got everything. We got pins from Argentinian films, stickers. We've got jerseys, sweaters, everything. Okay, we could continue to talk about the tattoos and Rousseau, if need be, and to say science and arts are not to blame to human relations, but it's a bit late. A big round of applause for everyone here and for the film.